official welcome to everyone to the Confident Cosmic CEO Masterclass. I am just buzzing. I'm so excited. It's like I feel buzzing and I feel grounded at the same time because I know that this experience is going to be very activating, but also very grounding at the same time. We are activating a new side of ourselves, or perhaps reactivating a side of ourselves. If you were drawn to being in this masterclass, I know that you were drawn to that kind of CEO confidence and wondering if that's a part of you and wondering how you can bring that out more in your life and business. And we're going to talk about how we can anchor that and really ground it in the day to day and in the reality of what we're doing in our businesses and in our work. It's going to be a packed masterclass as always. I have a beautiful journey that I'm going to take you guys through, a meditative journey at one point. I don't plan, let me do a little housekeeping. I don't plan on taking any breaks. So if you need to give yourself a break, go ahead. You will get the replay after today. But we're in it for I believe it will be about 90 minutes. This is going to be a really beautiful heart activation. We've just had so much going on with Jupiter. Jupiter's just moved into Cancer. And I'd like us all to just tap in today into the energy of Jupiter, especially the energy of expansion. It's really interesting. We're at the cusp of something right now, astrologically, at the moment that we're gathering together, at the moment that we're recording this. We're at the cusp of Cancer season. So we're moving from fast-paced, mind-centered Gemini all the way over to heart-centered, more flexible, more flowy Cancer. And today is a special day, June 18th, that we are recording this because Jupiter is actually in the sign of Cancer and it is squaring Neptune. And I chose today for the masterclass because it worked with my schedule, but also because of the astrology. I think that squares are this inner tension, they kind of bring out this tension within us in the astrology and also within us, that leads to creativity. You may be someone who has a big vision for yourself, for your work, or maybe big hopes and dreams. Maybe the vision's not super clear what it is yet, but you have this optimistic, inspiring motivation inside of you. You know you want to create something. You know you want to bring your best out, and you want to be in that energy of expansion. And there are other things in your life, in your energy, in your personality that are not opposed to that, but causing tension with that, right? Sometimes we may call them blocks, we may call them doubts, we may call them whatever, but there's other things there. And I love having this Jupiter square Neptune today that says, you know what? If you want to expand, you have to be spiritually aligned as well. The subconscious, the healing, you could call it the spiritual side of you, the energy has to be right as well. And so today we're really going to be talking a lot about energy and a lot about how we can do our best to support ourselves in the energy in our work. So I just wanted to set a little cosmic context for the day before we jump into all of the goodies. Welcome to everyone. I know that there's a lot of new names and faces that I've seen signing up for this masterclass. We have almost 100 people in here, which is very, very exciting. But what's even more exciting to me is how you answered the form when you signed up. So I want to give you a few stats just to lay the land of like who we all are here today. So, and also if you're completely new, like if this is the first time you're doing anything with me, I would love to know in the chat as well. It's wonderful to see old faces and new faces as well. Mwah. Love you all. So, okay. So it was really interesting when you filled out the form to sign up for today. I asked you, are you full-time in your business? And then 32% of you said that you said you were full-time in your business. 37% of you said that you don't have a business, but you want to start one. So you're on your business journey, but it's not there yet. It's not in existence yet, but it is in your heart. It's in your mind. 24% of you said you have a side hustle. Fabulous. I had one of those too. And then 6% of you said that you're not an entrepreneur. And I love this. You are welcome too. We're going to talk a lot today about business because we're talking about this CEO energy of being in your own business. But this energy applies to people who are not in business as well. This applies to you if you are focusing on your career and just your role and your work in the world. This energy applies to you too. I thought this was really beautiful to see that, 56%, if you do the math on this, of you here today have a business. So you made that decision already in a very kind of public, in a very definitive way to be your own boss. I applaud you. I know it's not an easy thing, but it's also an extremely creative and fulfilling thing. And I hope that today you walk away with a new perspective on yourself. My hope is that you'll walk away from today seeing yourself in an elevated way. In my Rising Star Business Academy, I have a whole section, one of the 5 kind of sections that we go through in there called the Elevated Entrepreneur. I think so often we're just thinking about the strategy. We're just thinking about what do I need to post? What is the strategy? How many funnels do I have? What platforms do I need to be on? And the way that we elevate our work is through remembering that we are the heart of it, especially if you're a soulpreneur, especially if you are a solopreneur. We all start out on our own. We all start out with a vision and a blank page, and we're just ready to build from there. But all of us need to remember that we are here to evolve and continually elevate ourselves. And today is all about that. At the end of today, I will share more about my Rising Star Business Academy. If you're interested in that, you can stay all the way to the end. But if not, this is still going to be an incredibly valuable masterclass and activation. So, all right. Today also in the Chinese, I've been learning a little bit about Chinese astrology. I thought it was really interesting. I just have to share this little tidbit because I am a cosmic nerd. Today is Wood Horse Day. So this is the Chinese astrological animal for today and the element. And in the I Ching, the hexagram is hexagram 50, which for those of you who know human design, human design incorporates the I Ching hexagrams, right? We have 64 gates, which are correlated to the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. And gate 50 is the gate of values, as we call it in human design. And it's also my conscious sun, which is my life's work. I mean, my mind was kind of blown when I saw that today, that the stars have aligned for all of us. I'm so excited to be in this energy. But in the I Ching, it's called the cauldron. How cool is that? How cool is that? We are stirring the cauldron today. We are making magic to get today together. And I just had to share that with you as well. Okay, so I want this to be interactive, so I will be asking you some questions as we go along. It will also help me to guide today's masterclass. The first question that I want to ask you is, are you already using astrology and or human design in your business or career? Are you already using it or are you new? So you could put OG, like you're already using it, or are you totally new? Let me know in the chat. This will help me to know if this is the idea of doing this is completely new to you, or if you're old hat OG on this kind of stuff. And I'm going to share my screen now as well. Let me see what we have. New, we said yes for astrology and human design. Nope, yes already. Yes, stir it up. Exactly. We're stirring up the cauldron. Such a beautiful day. Carrie, I'm so glad you're here. Yes. Melissa, hello. Just starting to use astrology. OG Ella, fabulous. Remain says, just got goosebumps. Truth bumps. Isn't it great? I know. It's just perfect. The stars seriously have aligned today. Once I found you, I implemented my human design, OG. I'm new to you and looking to incorporate astrology at some point. And someone else, Fee says they use gene keys and human design, but not astrology. Okay, perfect. Great. We have a fabulous mix. We have some OGs in the house. We have people who are dabbling. We have people who are deep in the cosmic process, and then people who are totally new. Wonderful. There's going to be something here for everyone today. Absolutely. So if you know me and this is not your first time with me, you know I like to start off with a quote. Today's is from Aristotle. I've never quoted Aristotle in my work before, but this one just came across my desk and I included it in my newsletter for this week. And it just spoke to me. He said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. this inspired me because so often we come to business just thinking about the mind, just thinking about the strategy, and we really want it to be that. We just want to have that silver bullet. I talk to my clients about this all the time. We just want a silver bullet. We just want to know, okay, this is the funnel that is going to make us a millionaire. Or we just want to know that this is the business model that is perfect for us. Or we just want to know, and we just want it to make the decision and be done, right? And we're here to educate the mind, absolutely, but we also have to educate the heart. So much of being a successful business owner who can evolve alongside their community, their business, and the world is being someone who can pivot, is being someone who can evolve, is being someone who can make a decision today and make a different decision tomorrow, stick to it, have that commitment and that conviction. And I think that when you are aligned with where your heart is, it's so much easier to do that. And when you're in your CEO energy, ooh, yes, this is the vibe. Also, a side note, in very interesting, Aristotle is an author of the first known systematic study of logic. And so I know a lot of us like to talk about logic versus intuition. But we got both and we need both. So it's time for the cosmic cutting edge, my darlings. We're going to get into all of it. I can't wait. So I want to ask you, what is a CEO? What words come to mind when you think about CEO? Words, images, people, just throw them into the chat. I want to hear there obviously was a reason that you were drawn to this masterclass and you weren't repelled by it. So there's something about CEO that you like. There could be positive word associations, negative word associations, like drop them all into the chat. I want to know what you think. Okay, Monica says leader, visionary, strategist, people gatherer. Love that. We have the word boss. Yes, agree. Men in suits. Yeah, absolutely. How did you know what my next slide was going to be, Toby? Okay, in charge. Yes, this kind of like large and in charge energy. Boss energy, the person who makes the decisions, the person who decides the direction. Boss woman, Cynthia says. Men in suits, Carrie says. Yes, right? Boss, boss, boss. Love it. Okay. So that's exactly what I think of as well. I tend to kind of picture someone who looks like this. This is Joe, real name. So Joe is I just decided to pick real people here. So he's a CEO of Deloitte, which is a company that I used to work for. So I was a management consultant in tech. For those of you who may be new to me, I started my business, or I had the kind of birth of the idea of my business when I was working at Deloitte. And I just realized that, I was climbing this corporate ladder that wasn't fulfilling for me. I realized that it was good in a lot of ways and terrible in a lot of ways. And the ways in which it was terrible were more painful for me. It was not fulfilling. I did not feel like my work was important or that I mattered in the work. And it was exhausting to kind of get up every day and be told you got to give 110% for something that isn't soul aligned, right? Where you feel that, what is the point of this? Like, why am I giving 110%? Why am I burning myself out for this? And at the time, a big driving factor in me deciding to start my own business, and my first business actually was different from what I do now. My first business was a events business. So it was for spiritual wellness events. And I wanted to be like the new Class Pass. I don't know if they have Class Pass in the US, but I live here in London. And it was like I wanted to make the new Class Pass for wellness events. Quickly realized I did not want to be in the event space and went into coaching, which was so perfectly aligned for me. But it was this realization that, I didn't want to work my way up to become a partner at my firm. I didn't, and I did become a partner at another firm after in my transition towards entrepreneurship, but I just knew I did not want to be a partner at the Big Four. I did not want to be a big kind of corporate honcho. And more power to Joe, but this image is exactly what we often think of when we think of CEO. And because of that, it's an older white straight man, presumably. And we kind of can count ourselves out if we don't fit that mold, right? We think, oh, maybe we can't be a boss. Maybe we can't claim that title of CEO because we don't see ourselves in other people around us, or we don't see someone doing it the way that we do it. But today is really a powerful activation for doing it our way. That is what I'm so passionate about. That's what led me to turn to coaching, because a lot of what I was doing in corporate was coaching my teams to leave eventually. So many of my team members were like, "You're the best manager I ever had." And I realized I need to get out of here because I'm really good at activating people's genius within them and seeing and helping them to see what is possible for them. So if you have, feel like you've experienced any of this, maybe you've had a corporate career as well, this may be the CEO that you knew before. You also may think of a CEO. I mean, this is Emma Greedy, very inspiring CEO. She's a CEO of Good American and a co-founder as well. But you may think of someone who's incredibly polished, like Emma is. You may think of someone, again, wearing a suit, showing up on TV, showing up on the news, like representing, very polished, very poised, very professional, like all of these things, did all the right steps and all the things, right? And so this may be your vision of a CEO as well, right? Yeah, exactly. Like Fee said, CEO says to me, great at public speaking. BDE, as Ella says as well. Yes, exactly. But this is also CEO, right? For those of us who have kids, you know this picture well. You understand. This is also CEO. CEO is someone who has a real life, who has a complex life, who has a lot of things pulling at their focus, literally and figuratively. And they stay in the energy of this is the vision, this is the strategy, this is the direction we're going. There's something truly unshakable about CEO energy. It's not always polished. It's not always perfect. They don't always make the right decisions. In fact, they're much more likely to be people, like successful CEOs, I should say, are much more likely to be people who are more comfortable with making mistakes. They're more comfortable with the mess because they hold such a powerful vision. This is also CEO energy. Today, the CEO absolutely is a person who is the public face of the company, but they're also the person behind the scenes who is keeping everyone on track. If you've experienced burnout in your career or in your business, or if you feel like just this overwhelm of so many decisions and everything, I liked this picture a lot because it was just this reminder of centeredness, this reminder to come back to peace, this reminder that it's not always about trying to get all of, the input and the information from the board and everyone around you. We're going to talk today about some real life CEO crises and some real life CEO, stuff that has gone down and people who I find quite inspiring. It's about being that person who's able to, amidst the chaos, come back to center, come back to support themselves because they know they're the heart of this business. And if they're not doing well and if they're not on track, the business is not doing well either. So our official definition from Forbes is that the CEO, as the highest ranking officer, focuses on the overall vision and strategy of the company and often represents the company in public. So yes, there is this public facing side, and yes, there is this like visionary side, but it's also about keeping everyone on track. And if you're a solopreneur, you're every department, right? So you're every department that needs to be kept on track. The finances, the copywriting, the sales, everything, the community manager, we've got to keep it all on track. So I want you to be really honest with yourself. Where would you say you are? I won't call out names, but drop it in the chat if you want to share. Let's all in solidarity. I'll tell you my number. Where would you say you are today with your CEO energy on a scale of 0 to 10? 0 is like definitely not in CEO energy at all. 10 is like completely, fully embodied and confident in every decision you make and every move you make. Where would you say you are at today? Okay, we have a 4. We have an 8. We have an 8. Oh my gosh, we have 8s? This is incredible, you guys. Okay, so 4, 8, 8, 5. We have 7. We have 6. We have 3, 6, 4, 9. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. 3. I prefer to work in the shadows. I love this. Not to be seen. So I guess 0. All right, all right. I like the honesty there. I'm a 7 or an 8, 0, 5, and 4 to 5. Perfect. I would say that I am currently at between a 6 and a 7. I say I'm currently between a 6 and a 7. My business journey has been so fascinating to watch for me. You know how sometimes you're the person who's doing the doing, and also you're the person, your highest self, your future self is also doing the watching, right? You can watch yourself and you can observe and you can see how you're doing. When I started my business, it was as a side hustle. So I love all of the, what was it? 24% of you that are doing side hustles. More power to you. So I started as a side hustle as I was a principal at a tech management consultancy at the time. And I was able to bring myself down to 4 days a week and, my energy and my day job down to 50% so that I could do my side hustle. And I just wanted to leave my job. Like my main goal was I want to be able to leave my job. I want to be able to be who I am all the time and not feel like I'm kind of quieting myself or dimming myself down. And I knew I was meant for something, but I didn't really know exactly what that was, but I knew there was something more for me. And then when I, surprise, got pregnant with my son, which was like 2 months after starting my business, that was such a shock. And I didn't expect it. Only been seeing my partner for like a month at that time. And here we were ready to embark on parenthood, or I don't know if ready is the right word, but willing. And it just completely lit a fire in me, knowing that I had a baby on the way, knowing that my son was coming, knowing that, oh my gosh, like, okay, it's time to make this dream a reality. It's time to actually do this for real. And I would say in that moment of knowing that I had this goal, this really strong, powerful, passionate vision of not being at work while he was little. I'd seen parents struggle. I'd seen them have to miss important meetings and the all of the drama that goes along with trying to be a parent and being in the, workplace, not being able to go away on the big glamorous, projects abroad and all of these kinds of things, or going away and then feeling a lot of guilt. It just wasn't for me. And it is for some people, but it just wasn't for me. That gave me that CEO energy. I think at that time in my business, I was probably more at like an 8 or a 9. I was like, oh, there's something here. I have a vision. I'm really clear. I'm going to make it happen. Let's do it. And then a couple of years into my business, I started to have some success right away after I had my baby. And then I went full time 3 months later. Boom, it was incredible. I started getting clients. I started getting invitations. I got invited in my first year of business, first full time year of business, to be an inner circle guide for Astrology Hub. This was so exciting, you know, and uh, and it was really beautiful. And then I started to have some doubts. I started to think, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. Am I just recreating my 9 to 5 here? Where am I really going? And I started getting more and more success, but then more and more doubt of like, oh, this must just, that was an amazing month. I made 11K that month, but that was probably just a fluke. That was probably just that wasn't me. I'm not really good enough. Right. And some of us have this self-doubt come up in failure. And some of us, like me, have a lot of self-doubt that comes up in success. You start to question it. Anyone, relate to this? You start to question and you start to think, well, maybe it's just because of this reason. A lot of people are investing in coaching right now. It's not really my work, or it's not really me. And you start kind of making it this whole spiral of self-confidence. And then I made a really big investment at the end of 2022, and I had my best months ever. And then made this massive investment that was more money than I had, on this bet that if I make a big investment, then that means I'm going to make double the money back. There's a lot of this kind of talk in the coaching industry that if you make a really big investment, then that means it's going to come back to you 2 times. And we can talk about the ethics of some of this messaging later. But yeah, you probably can guess how I feel about that now. So this investment ended up being a terrible investment. I ended up, of course, becoming the CEO I am today because of all the drama, but it was very painful. And it turned out that, the person I invested in, the mastermind I invested in, was not as it was sold. And they kind of checked out and have since ended up closing their business and firing their team amid a lot of problems and scandal. So that was not fun. That was not fun at all. But, and some of you may have hangups like that. You may have made big leaps as CEOs in your businesses, right? You may have made big investments. You may have taken some risks that didn't pay off the way you needed or wanted it to pay off, right? I'm right there with you. So my CEO energy went about down to a 1 after that. And I had this spiral of confidence, which ended up being reflected in this spiral of finances. And it was like, I couldn't believe it. It was like I had been going up, 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 up. And then one little thing popped my balloon and it went down again. And I was able to, thank goodness, through getting some support, doing some deep, deep inner child healing, getting therapy, starting to rebuild my self-concept again. I was able to bring myself back out of that depression, out of that dark place. But I understand how sometimes you just think you're flying and then one little failure or one little thing happens and it can pull you right back down. So what all of this kind of up and down taught me in my business was how to be completely unshakable. I've made some tough decisions in my personal life. I'm a newly single mom. Some of you people know that. And I've reorganized and rearranged my entire business over the last year, and it has been incredible. I now have an incredible following on Substack, on TikTok. I've started making back to where I was before. My money is back again and only building from here. And I'm starting to get incredible opportunities that I didn't have before. But I had to build. What this all taught me is it's not just about the strategy. It's not just about you showing up and doing the work. Because when I was feeling really low, when I was depressed, I was still showing up and doing the work. Maybe not as much work, but I was still showing up. But the energy wasn't there, right? The CEO concept wasn't there. And so I couldn't be as magnetic as I used to be. I couldn't build because I was down on myself. So that's really why I wanted to create this masterclass today, because I wanted to and support everyone here who has a big passion, a big vision to really grow that and to recognize that CEO energy doesn't go away because you have a bad month. CEO energy doesn't go away because a collaboration didn't work out. CEO energy doesn't go away because, you made a bad investment or whatever. It is a sign that you are rock solid in who you are and in what you're building. You're going up and down all the way up, right? I know a lot of you probably resonate with certain aspects of my story. Thank you, Monica. She says, thank you for the transparency about the highs and lows. Entrepreneurship is hard. It is. It is. It's like one of the hardest things you'll ever do, and also one of the most fulfilling and creative things you'll ever do. It's incredible. Okay. So I want to talk about what happens when you're avoiding the CEO energy. What can that look like? The reason I want to talk about this is because we need to catch ourselves. One of the most beautiful learnings from this really tough time in my business and in my life was that I didn't see it. Like I didn't catch what was happening while it was happening. I was just kind of in the thick of it, feeling very overwhelmed and lost. And so the more that you can keep an eye out for when you are in these avoidances, when you are in these kind of spirals downwards as I was, the quicker you can catch it, you can readjust your energy, you can get back, and then you can move forward with confidence and determination and intention, right? So I chose this tarot card. For those of you who know the tarot, I don't know how many of you who you love the tarot, let me know in the comments, but I chose the Eight of Swords, okay? This is a card that nobody wants to pull, but I see this card as absolutely this card of hope. And this represents for me this energy of avoidance that we sometimes have to be the boss that we were born to be. So you notice that in this picture, this person is surrounded by swords, right? Surrounded by this representation of maybe pain or harm or violence, but they aren't hurting this person, right? The swords are actually, they don't have sharp points. They're pointed into the ground. There is nothing that can actually hurt this person. And yet they believe that they're surrounded by difficulty, pain, that it's only going to get worse, right? It's like doom and gloom. And their arms are tied, they're blinded. This is what happens when you avoid your CEO energies. You get blinded to the vision and you lose sight of why you're actually doing this and you lose sight of where you're actually going here, right? But notice that their legs are free. This is why this is actually a hopeful card, even though it looks quite dramatic. Their legs are free. They can move, they can walk, they can direct themselves out at any time. So what often happens, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment so I can see you guys better. What often happens when you are in avoidance of the CEO energy is you take up a different role, right? And I recently dropped a podcast about this. Maybe some of you have heard about it, but it's asking this question: are you a project manager or are you a CEO? Right? Which one are you? Maybe some of you, I'm going to list a few roles that you might be playing, and this is where you build your awareness of like what's really going on here. Maybe you are really comfortable being the project manager, right? When I was in corporate, a lot of my job was being a project manager, being the person who keeps people on task. You're the list person. You have the list of what everyone's supposed to do. You know your deadlines, you know the tasks, you know all of that, and you make sure it happens, or at least you know what's supposed to happen. So you're a project manager, right? The difference between that and the CEO is that the project manager is really looking at the day to day. They're really looking at what's in front of me right now. So if you're in your business and you know, okay, this is my next launch, this is the schedule for the next 6 months, right? Then you're very much in that project manager energy. And that is important, especially if you're a solopreneur and you don't have another team member who does this, right? Very, very important job, not the CEO. The CEO is eyes up, looking out to the future, right? Future focused. What's next? Like in the spiritual world, right? We do a lot of work on presence. Yes. Presence is the project manager. Presence is the project manager that knows what's happening today, that knows what's happening tomorrow, and maybe even 6 months from now. But the CEO is looking years from now. At my CEO, Rachel Starr, knows that 2 years from now, I'm planning on hosting a massive international conference. Like, I know that that's coming. I have no idea how I'm going to make that happen. I have no idea what country it's going to be in at this point because I was planning on it being in the US. I'm not sure if that's happening anymore. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know how many people. I don't know any of that, but I have the vision in my mind. I'm looking way, way, way out so that when I come across people today that may have a connect or may be in the events business. I had lunch yesterday just like out of the blue with a woman. I went to an incredible networking event about book writing and met a woman. We had lunch. She's an event person, right? I never know who I'm going to meet. But if I'm in my CEO energy, I can be open to those opportunities for tomorrow, today, right? That's where you want to be. You want to be moving, thinking about your business 2 years from now, 5 years from now. What could it be in the future? And for those of you who know about quantum work, right? Collapsing time, that's what brings things to you faster, is actually being in the energy of the future. And that's what the CEO does. So you might be the project manager. You might also be the copywriter or the creative. How many of you love being the creative, right? How many? Oh, hi, Jessica. I just saw that you said your side hustle is a tarot business. Fabulous. So you know all about this card. But you might be the copywriter or the creative. I love writing my weekly emails to you all. I love recording my videos. I love doing my TikToks. Like if I could, I would just do TikTok all day long and my podcast. I love my podcast, especially now that I have a mic that works. So TikTok and podcast, I would just do that all day long. I love being the creative, right? I love doing it. It's so much fun. And sometimes I resent having to be the CEO and having to, do the big picture stuff. But in order for my work on TikTok and for my podcast to actually be taking the business somewhere, I have to be the CEO with the eye on the future too. What about community manager? How many of you are so good at like keeping up with your clients? You know what they're up to, you know what your community is doing, you chat, you have coffees, maybe virtual coffees, like you know everything, right? Community manager, that could be you. Sales associate. There's a lot of people who love doing launches, love doing master classes like this one today, love to do, 20-day challenges. They love the sales process and how exciting it is to introduce their work to new people, right? That could be a role that you're too comfortable in as well. And then the last one I think is a call out for all of us. And this is the role of the healer. So a lot of us just want to be the healer. We just want to do the work. We just want to support our people. We don't want to have to think about selling, future, building, collaborations, meeting people, whatever, raising money, whatever it is. We don't want to think about all that. Yes, Jessica, I definitely prefer creativity over my other hats. Exactly. There's so many hats we wear. But at the same time, we have to remember that when we're avoiding the CEO energy, we're only able to wear those other hats. And the vision, the direction, the potential isn't there if we're not ready to grab it. So I want to talk about, and I'm going to share my screen again because I have a visual that I want to share with you, just to really land the point home about what can happen when you're not in your CEO energy. Why is this a problem? Because it can be very tempting, especially if you had one of the lower numbers the score that you gave yourself, like between 0 and 5. If you have one of the lower numbers, it can be very tempting to stay there because it's more comfortable. It's more comfortable to be the content creator. It's more comfortable to be the healer or the coach or whatever you want, the guide, the advisor, whatever you want to call yourself. It's more comfortable to be the project manager. It's probably more related to maybe what you did if you had a 9-to-5 job previously. So it's more comfortable there, right? But what can happen? I want to show you a visual. When you're not in your CEO energy is very important to recognize when you are truly starting to enter in the possibilities for yourself. So the first thing that can happen is what happened to me after I made the bad investment. And I will call it a bad investment, even though, of course, it has all led me to today. There are no mistakes. There are no failures. The failures are good. Like I fully believe that and I understand that. But when I made my bad investment, I went into stalling. Some of you may be there today, or maybe you know what this feels like, or maybe you will get there at some point, right? This point where you get to where you don't want to move, right? You're like, I know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to keep doing that again and again and again. I'm just going to rinse and repeat the things that I've already done. I'm going to kind of try to go into like maintenance mode. And essentially, I'm stalling. Think of a car, right? A car that's stalling. And I use this kind of musical metaphor for all of these stages. So the metaphor for this is silence. There's nothing happening, right? It's like you're in a kind of a void space and you're not going backwards, but you're not going forwards either. This is what can happen when you take that CEO hat off, right? And you're kind of in protection mode. Sometimes it's okay to be in this. Sometimes we need to do some healing. There's something going on with us that we need to take care of. Could be a family emergency, could be like I said, an inner child healing, something that needs to happen. So we stall and then we're in silence. I remember in this time where I was installing, I was not promoting my containers. Like I would launch things and then I would talk about it a couple of times, like on my stories, but I wouldn't really like promote it. I was kind of hiding. I was like kind of, excuse my French, half-assing it. I was like, oh, here's this thing. It's like very quietly, like, oh, hello, sign up for this thing. It's really cool, kind of. But the belief wasn't there. The passion wasn't there. I knew for about a year and a half that I needed to like stop focusing on Instagram. How many of you might have something like this right now where there's something that you need to do or that that there's something that you need to stop and you're just not doing it. You're in silence, you're stalling, right? For me, it was Instagram. Instagram was not working. And in the first beginning years of my business, Instagram was great. I grew my account, my first account to 4,000. It was fabulous. And then I started Cosmic Queen and it just stalled. And I was like stuck at 1,000 followers and it wasn't growing. And it's not about the numbers. It was about, I'm not like, no one new is finding me. Right. And I loved my people, but I felt this stagnation, right? It was stalling. It was stagnant. It was silent. And I knew I needed to get on TikTok. I knew I needed to explore other avenues. I knew I needed to start a podcast. I knew I needed to get on YouTube, right? How many of you feel that, right? Like you know that there's this thing that you need to do or want to do, but you're not doing it, right? For whatever reason, there's all kinds of reasons that this can happen. Absolutely. Yes, exactly. You guys are resonating in the chat. I see this beautifully described void space that feels like safety. Exactly. And sometimes we need that. So I'm not, I don't want any of these call outs to feel unloving. These are all loving call outs because I have been in each one of these places, right? She says, my problem is I don't know what the next step is to get my business out there other than Instagram. Exactly. So sometimes we get stalled there because we say, I don't know, right? And so the I don't know becomes the silence as well. And it stops us from figuring out, well, what could it be? And being in curiosity and being in like, well, what if I did this? What if I did this? Oh, and starting to do the research and starting to ask questions and starting to talk to other people, right? And getting more into that curiosity. Sometimes the I don't know becomes the stalling, you know? The other thing that can happen is that we get into retreat, right? So we have this arrow that's pointing backwards. So we get into the musical term would be dissonance. I was asking my musical mom for this today. Thank you, Mom. She's a classical concert musician. So it's dissonance, right? We use this word in human design as well when we have, like, for example, profile combinations like the 3-5 is a dissonant combination, or the 6-2 is a dissonant combination. So anyway, so dissonance, but we don't mean it in a bad way in human design. It's just, it's inner tension. Okay, side note. So retreat, right? How many have been in retreat at some point? There's a really interesting story. I don't have a slide for it, but I wanted to share it with you. So for those of you who know the beauty industry, do you know Huda Beauty, Huda? Right? So if you have heard of Huda Beauty, it's one of the top like beauty brands out there, very big everywhere, really great products, has had, as all brands have had some ups and downs and here and there and different things, but very popular, very successful. The founder of Huda Beauty is Huda Katan. In 2020, she stepped down so she started the business in 2013, stepped down as CEO in 2020. And I was reading some of her words about like how she's described that and what happened. It was really interesting because when she stepped down, so many people applauded that. So many people said, yes, there were so many think pieces and all the magazines and journals of like, yes, like, this is so smart. She's hiring in a CEO that has the expertise that she doesn't have because she was just an influencer, right? Oh, she was just a beauty lover. She was just whatever who founded this company, but she can't take it to the next level, right? And this is like a story that we hear a lot, like, well, you don't really know enough. Right. Like you don't really have the experience. Like you had a great idea, but like you need to bring in a different CEO. Like someone else would be better for this, someone else with more experience, someone else with more know-how, for sure, for sure. And so people really applauded this. And she said she got so much from her board and so much advice, from her board and everyone else saying, yeah, this is really smart. This is a really smart move. And she said she just knew. She just knew it was wrong. But she did it anyway because what? She stopped trusting herself. So she stepped down as CEO, appointed someone else as CEO. And then this last year, 2024, she came back. She said, you know what? That was the biggest, she said it was one of the biggest regrets of her life that she stepped down as CEO of her own company and let someone else take the reins. And she was still there, of course. She moved into new product development, but she just saw the ship turning direction. And she was like, no, that wasn't my vision. I have the vision. Why did I give it away? Right? Think about that. This happens at every level, even with super like multi-million dollar, like billion-dollar valuation companies, like super successful women and men out there. It happens with them too. So you're not alone. If you ever feel like this, like, oh, maybe I should just give this business over to someone else. Maybe someone else would do this better. But be like Huda. Remember, you were the one who built this in the first place. You were the one who had the vision in the first place. And don't set yourself up for the biggest regret of your life, giving over your vision to someone else. No, I love this story. I think it's really inspiring. It's really cool to kind of see someone today doing that. So don't be in dissonance, right? Don't retreat from the vision, that the reason why you started this, right? Remember that. And then the third one is sabotage. Somebody else had already said sabotage in the comments. I saw that, right? So sabotage, right? This is where you're just creating noise and you're maybe a little panicked and you're maybe like a little desperate, maybe for money, maybe for notoriety. I don't know. Maybe you feel like you're too old, it's too late, da da da. And then you're just like rushing, right? And you're rushing and you're trying to say yes to everything. You're like, I'm just going to say yes to everything. I'm just going to go with it. This person seems like they know what they're doing. So I'm just going to hire them and go with that, right? And then we get into sabotage. Yes. So sabotage is where you are moving. You're not moving backwards. You are moving forwards, but you're just not really making aligned decisions. You're just kind of making the wrong ones. Like you're just like you're veering to the right or you're veering to the left a little bit. You might be jumping on a bandwagon. I remember when I first started my business, there are all these trends that happen in my industry specifically that I pay attention to. And there was this big trend for pink brands, right? Everyone had the millennial pink and the nude brand, and like it was really big, and like Boss Babe energy was like super big, and yeah, everything looked the same. And for a while, my brand was pink as well. I had some pink in there. I had some pink. I had some turquoise in there as well. This is way before Cosmic Queen. But people jump on bandwagons, right? And then we had like the super uber luxury vibe come in. And then it was like, ooh, it's all about Chanel bags and like black and white and like dramatic, photography. And I love that. So I was all over that. But and then all the brands start to look the same, right? So we're kind of like this idea of like where we're jumping on the bandwagon, right? And it's so easy to do that. But a lot of times what we're actually doing is we're not in our CEO energy. And so we end up kind of sabotaging ourselves because we have too many voices in our heads, right? And this is Uranus is moving into Gemini, July 7th. Those of you who know astrology know this is going to get harder to not listen to everyone else's voices, right? When you're in CEO energy, you can take in expert advice, you can take in expert opinion, but you filter it through your own CEO energy. What you don't want to do is end up just being someone who, out of desperation and lack of self-trust, like what Huda was saying about herself, where you just end up sabotaging yourself by jumping on the bandwagon. So you got to be careful about that. Yes. Oh, Sharonda said, I just wrote a blog to get on LinkedIn. I need to be there to connect with companies. Yes. So I love this. So you know what it is you need to do. This is fabulous. So you're already on board with the fourth one, which is the one we all want to be doing, which is movement. We don't want to be stalling. We don't want to be moving backwards in retreat. We don't want to be in sabotage, but we do want to be moving forward in harmony. And it's not about moving fast. I want to make a distinction here. When I'm talking about making moves, taking risks, being decisive, thinking about the future, it's not about speed. It's about intention, right? It's about always thinking about what's next, what's next, what's next. How do we grow? How do we serve our customers better? How do we deepen our skills and our knowledge? How do we build our body of work? How do we have a more precise and better impact, right? So it's not about speed, it's about intention. And when we're moving with a proper CEO intention, we are in harmony. And we, even if we fail, even if we try something that doesn't work, we're still in harmony because we always have our eye on the prize. We always have our eye on the vision. That's where we want to be. So how do you know that you are moving in with harmony? How do you know that you are moving forward with harmony? And what are the things that hold you back from that? I would love for you to share with me in the chat, what is it that you think is the main thing that ever, and this may not apply to you right this moment, but if you think back to a moment where you know you were holding back from moving forward in harmony, what is it, if you could put your finger on it? Is it fear? Is it worry? Is it other voices in your head from other people who don't know what's right for you and your business? What is it? If you could share maybe a word or a sentence, let me know what is coming through for you. I'm a manifestor in human design. Love that. So trying to really trust my own movement and process. Yes. For manifestors and manifesting generators, we like the speed. We like to move fast. And the world doesn't really reinforce that as a good thing for us. Right? A lot of times, if you're someone who was born like to move fast, maybe you have a lot of fire energy, a lot of air energy in you, then you may have been told, no, 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 slow down. You need to check all the steps. You need to make sure it's perfect. Like you don't want to put something out that's slapdash, right? And we get these voices in our head that stops us from taking those leaps. 100%. I give myself burdens, then I can't get to my business needs. Right. That's so true. That's like kind of like a sabotage one, isn't it? Thank you for sharing. Uncertainty. Ryan says uncertainty. So that's something that stops us from moving forward in harmony with our vision. I'm not afraid of failure, but I'm fearful of failing publicly. That's a big one. Yes, we're going to do an example of that in just a minute. Failing publicly, right? It's like failing privately. Oh, that's not too bad. And this is the whole thing that's so funny. It's like for some of us, failing publicly is the issue. For some of us, failing privately is also an issue. Like I think about when I made my bad investment, nobody knew about that. You wouldn't know about it unless I told you. Right? Like nobody knew. Only like the people, my parent, my people closest to me, my bestie know about this. Nobody knew about it, but I decided to make it public knowledge. In fact, I have a podcast I'm about to publish about it, and I've been sitting on it because I'm like, but no, I want to tell people because this is such a common thing and I learned so much through it. And my job as a CEO and as a leader in my business is to melt shame. I will never let shame stop me from my vision, right? Yes, Brene Brown. We all got the Brene Brown shame work that we got to do. Exactly. Failing publicly, yeah, even worse. Overwhelm of how much I want to do and lack of focus. Yes, yes, Romain, that's a big one. The noise outside of me and not having a typical job can make me doubt. Yep, it's that unconventional path. MG energy of doing too much so that there's no time to sit and strategize. Oh, I know that one. To deal with the relationship with oneself. You guys, these are amazing. These are so thoughtful. Being focused on being a mom only versus getting into things that are good for me. Yes, became a mom at 19. Wow. Yes. Oh my gosh, the identities, right? We have these identities and with these identities, some part of them are positive and part of them can hold us back because there's a certain way that we think we have to do them, right? Being a mom, etc. Projector, but conversely also a procrastinator. Oh, I see that. Yeah, I see that a lot. I see that a lot. Thinking I'm not good enough or I don't know enough. Thank you all for sharing. These are really powerful, really beautiful to kind of have this kind of self-awareness and see what is stopping us from moving us forward. So there are three things, if I could summarize it, I'm a good consultant. I always have 3 points, but there are three things that I believe are necessary to become a powerful CEO and a successful business owner. Just three, not a million, just three. We need a powerful vision. We need a powerful self-concept, and we need a powerful strategy. I love everything that you shared, and I'm going to go back through those after today more in detail when I read through the chat. I always go back and I read through everything that you guys share. It's so important to me to connect more. A lot of those, all of those can fit into one of these categories, right? So one person said, I don't really know what to focus on, right? That's a vision issue. So it's needing a powerful vision. Where am I even going here, right? And just because you don't have a business idea doesn't mean you can't have a vision. Your vision might be this for right now. And later, when you know what your business is, your vision morphs, your vision evolves, your vision changes, right? When I first started my business, my vision was to work for myself and hopefully do something positive in the world, right? Now, my vision is so much more specific than that. And there's certain people that I really want to support. And there's a way that I want to use my money. And there's a way that I want my work to change the world, right? So your vision can evolve. Don't think that you just have to have one vision. And then there's the self concept. So much of my work is around identity and confidence. And that's a lot of what we're doing today is identity and confidence. Having a powerful self concept makes you a good CEO because you cannot be shaken by anything or anyone when you have a powerful self concept. And then a powerful strategy. And that's where the cosmic cutting edge comes in because that helps us to know what the next step is. Some of you shared, I don't know what the next step is, right? Well, so when you have your powerful strategy in alignment with your human design and astrology, it's like, well, this is who I am. And this strategy and this model could work for me. I'm going to try that. I'm going to use that as my next step and evolve and use my intuition every step of the way, right? Love this. Yes, no worries. You can transcribe. I'm also transcribing the call. Don't worry. I love it that you guys love transcription. It's so helpful. I understand to read it back later. No worries. This is so great. Thank you. Can't wait to catch the rest. No worries. Okay, so now that we've talked about the three kind of aspects, I want us to do a little bit of this pre-work. Visualize yourself speaking to someone about your business. It can be a friend or a stranger, maybe a potential client. What is the emotion that you'd like to feel when you talk about your business, your current or future business? Share in the chat, if you will. What is that emotion that you would like to feel? What feeling would you love to be flowing through you when you are talking about your business? I would love for you to share that in the chat. We've talked about what bad looks like, as we would say, as consultants, we say, what does good look like? What does bad look like? We've talked a lot about what bad looks like. Now let's talk about what good looks like. Think about, number two is to think about someone in your life or a celebrity or someone that you've seen that you feel embodies the kind of CEO energy that you aspire to. Let's get some inspiration in here in the chat. What does that look like? What is it? It's not just men in suits, right? We talked about men in suits. What does that look like? What is it about that person that just screams CEO vibes to you? Is it their way of speaking? Is it their message? Is it their way of working? Or is it just aura? So two things. What is the feeling that you want flowing through you as you are speaking to someone about your business? And then what is it about someone that you know or have seen that just says CEO to you? What is it about them? Pleasure and enjoyment. Yes, you want to feel that pleasure and enjoyment as you're speaking about your business. So it just flows through you and you just feel that passion, that excitement. Love it. Successful and happy. That's so beautiful. Talking about your business, you feel successful and happy. Jessica says, I want to sound passionate, joyful, and contagious. Yes. So that when it was so beautiful yesterday when I went to this women's networking event. It's a group in London called Mumble Forum for women who most of them are moms as well, who work or have businesses. And we had to go around the room and each of us had to introduce ourselves. And it was such a great moment. There were about maybe 20, 25 people there where it's like, oh no, I'm on. Like I have to tell people who have never met me before what I do, who I am, and yeah, and you have to condense everything into such a short period of time. But yeah, when I was sharing about what I do, I just felt myself light up. You know that feeling when you're just talking about it. I was like, I am a business coach and I support people to really let go of these old ways in which they've been doing things and step into their own uniqueness, to recognize that who they are, that uniqueness is their superpower. And I do that with astrology and human design. And I just felt Ooh, like it, I just lit up, right? That's the feeling that I can feel so many of you want to feel when speaking about your business. Yeah, don't fumble words, confidence, passionate. Brian Chesky, Melinda Gates, fabulous. Earlier today, I was talking to someone about Michelle Obama. Someone said Michelle Obama is like that CEO energy for her. Yes, love this. Thank you so much for sharing. I want to share three examples of CEOs, and I want you to just kind of like, as I describe what happens to them, feel in your body. In fact, let me go back for a minute. Feel in your body what that might be like for you. What comes up for you? This kind of, is it like an adrenaline thing? Is it a little bit of fear? Is it a little bit of, oh, I don't know. As I describe how some really successful CEOs have handled some really tough times in their business. I want to give us a little bit of inspiration from some real life stories. So I talked about Huda Beauty before, but have you heard about Lyft? So Lyft CEO last year, they had a big kind of scandal moment, whatever you want to call it. Analysts said that they had never seen a mistake made like this in the history of financial reporting. So this is big stuff, right? So by the way, for those of you who may not know, Lyft is basically like Uber, I believe. I've never used it, but I think it's like a ride sharing type of thing where you book a cab essentially and you have a driver come and pick you up like Uber. So they had a typo about the valuation, something financial, like the valuation of their company, and it just created a maelstrom. Their drivers were upset, people were not getting paid, like all kinds of stuff went down. $2 billion mistake, evidently. And he was really David Risher, the CEO, came out and he said, look, this was a terrible mistake and it's on me. The headlines, like all the headlines of like the business, newspapers, et cetera, were like, it's on me. And that just owning it, just claiming it and recognizing and saying, yeah, I'm the CEO. There was a mistake that was made and it's on me. And actually accepting the responsibility changed everything. If he had tried to, tried to like kind of brush this off as if it wasn't something important or blame his team, right? Oh, well, it was the analysts. It was this team. Oh, yeah, we fired them. Heads will roll. Like if he tried to do some of that kind of posturing, it would not have worked like this worked. This worked like a charm. And like it says here, it was a lesson in emotional intelligence, just to come out and be very, unscripted and just say, look, yes, we did make a mistake. I'm sorry about it. And it's on me. Could you, as a CEO, do that? Right? It's worth thinking about, what would that feel like if I made a huge if I made a huge mistake, right? I said something wrong, I offended someone, I made a financial mistake in my business, whatever happened, would I be able to come forward confidently and say, yep, I own that. I'm sorry, I'm going to fix it, and then move on the next day? Would you be able to do that, right? This is the kind of CEO energy that we really want to aspire to. Example number two. Some of you may know the lip bar. Is anyone familiar with the lip bar? So Melissa Butler uh, and her business partner went on Shark Tank, right? They went on Shark Tank and they were rejected, but they were not just rejected. And by the way, it was just such an incredible idea. Brightly colored lipsticks, really wanted to bring in this innovation, especially thinking about women of color, specifically people of color that wanted to have a variety of shades, a variety of like, self-expression. They had like greens, blues, purples, like all kinds of really cool stuff. And then they got this kind of feedback. Oh, I can see a massive market share in the clown market, said Kevin O'Leary. And then down here, O'Leary continued, oh, wait, you can't even see it down here. Let me read this to you. Said something along the lines of, here's a quote. If another company came along, right? So if another company decided to do what you guys were doing, right? They would sell it. They'd make it themselves and they would crush you like the colorful cockroaches that you are. Ooh. How would you do if you went in front of, had this huge opportunity to be on national TV on stage in front of business experts, and they were asking for 20%. I think they were going to give away 20% equity for a certain amount of investment in their business to the sharks. You have this opportunity to pitch and be seen. And, it's like everything in your life, you've been working so hard, built up to this point, and someone tells you that you're a colorful cockroach and that you should sell to clowns. Whew. Would you be able to be in your CEO energy then? Would you be able to get through that? Would you be able to say, you know what? That person's rejection has nothing to do with where I'm going with my vision, has nothing to do with how incredible this work that I'm doing could be and the people that could be served by what I'm doing in my vision. Do you have that kind of CEO energy? I find this so inspiring. Their products are now in Walmart, in Target. They're an incredibly successful brand, and they're on the top of those lists of companies that were rejected by Shark Tank that have gone on to be massive successes, right? Mm-mm-mm. Yes, she says, I've had to humbling and confidence building at the same time. Exactly. Very inspiring. And last but not least, some of you may be familiar with Melanie Ann Layer. She is the founder of Alpha Femme, and she is a very, very successful coach in our industry. I believe in her business, she's made something around $100 million, something around that, like since the beginning, and around, I think, 20 something million per year. So really, really successful, really big time. A lot of people are very inspired by her example. And she has a bunch of Reddit threads dedicated to taking her down and dedicated to people who hate her, right? Could you, as a CEO, deal with that? Could you deal with having Reddit threads dedicated to people hating on your work? People who say, oh, like some of the things that have been said about her is she's a witch. She's obviously working with the devil. She's, a scammer. She doesn't do anything. It's all fluff. It's all a scam, blah, 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 right? Who could you be in your CEO energy still, even when someone mentioned publicly, right? Failing publicly, something happens publicly, right? Ooh, could we deal with that? So, in order to deal with these kinds of things, these are the kind of things that keep us in fear, right? That keep us in sabotage, that keep us in the stalling period. We're worried about, oh, what would it be like to experience those things? We know that in order to be able to weather those storms, we have to have confidence. I want to talk about my confidence formula for a moment with you before we get into all of our cosmic fabulousness and our meditation today. By the way, I think we're going to go overtime. So FYI, if you have to go, that's all right. You can catch the rest on a replay, but I want to make sure that we give enough time for our meditation journey and the cosmic insight that I want to share as well. So confidence, I have this confidence equation that I want to share with you. If you are someone who struggles with feeling confident with yourself, and we all do at some point, right? Then this is something that you can come back to. It's a tool that you can use again and again to recognize what it is that you need to build up in yourself. So the first part of it, and I call this active confidence, by the way, instead of passive confidence. So this is the confidence to do things, right? This is who you are as a CEO. This is the confidence to do things, to take risks, to make those moves, to say yes to doing the podcast, to join the summit, to write the book, to put out the offer, to raise your prices, right? Whatever it is. Oh, thank you, Jessica. She said, I'm loving this talk, so no problems running late. Thank you so much. So number one is conviction. And in my Rising Star Business Academy, we have a whole module on confidence, and we're going to be adding more to it as we go along because there are levels to this, right? There are levels, levels, levels. So conviction is number one. If you're not convicted in what you do, you can't do more, right? If you're not sure that what you're doing is it, you can't do more. I've met people who are business coaches and they should be divorce coaches, right? It's like they thought they needed to be a business coach because business coaching is popular. But actually, what they're passionate about, where their skills are, where their experience is, what they're actually here to do is support people through divorce, right? I've met people who are doing business coaching, again, business coaching, who should be doing health coaching, right? And it's just like everything in their energy says it's that, but they're doing that because they think they're supposed to, right? Conviction. Are you convicted in what you do? If you don't have conviction in what you do, then you can't fully be confident because the subconscious part of you knows that and is telling you that you're a fraud, right? So if you have any of that, like kind of I'm a fraud or like imposter syndrome, look at conviction. That's probably like if you're, this is like a little way of diagnosing for yourself. Look at your conviction, right? Are you convicted 100% in what you do? For me, this was not the problem. Like when I had my crises in confidence throughout the start of my business, it was not, my confidence issues were not about conviction. It was about something else. It was about the next one, which is a lot of us. It was about compassion. Yes. So you have to have compassion for yourself when you fail. And you will fail. There will be things that you're not good at. There will be things that you make, places where you make mistakes. There will be things that you do wrong. There will be, things that you say wrong that, of course, that is part of it. I'm going to talk later about what's coming up in my world, but we're going to do a whole activation on recoding failure because this compassion part, this is where a lot of us fall down, right? This is where a lot of us struggle, is having the compassion for ourselves. We can have all the compassion all day long for our clients, for the people around us, but for ourselves, we don't give ourselves that grace, right? So having compassion for ourselves, because the thing is, you can't be fully confident in yourself without having self-compassion, because then taking the risks becomes too painful. You can do it, you're convicted, you have the courage, but it's painful because every step along the way, you're telling yourself how horrible you are. It's too painful. At some point, you'll have to stall and heal that stuff. You'll have to stop. That's what happened to me. And then the last one is multiplied by courage squared. So the point is there's a lot of courage required, right? It's courage squared. There's a lot of courage. So it's the courage to take risks and try new things. If you don't have courage, you can believe in something, you can be kind to yourself about it, but you're never going to actually take that leap. You're never going to get out of the comfort zone, right? The courage is what helps us to take the risks and try new things. Think about Huda from Huda Beauty. She thought she didn't have the experience. Everyone was telling her, you need a professional CEO, you need an expert. But the thing is, she could learn. And that's what she said. I read some of her words about this whole thing. She said, what I should have done was gather the right experts around me who could teach me new things, right? Instead of just giving those reins away, right? So no one comes out of the womb knowing how to be a good CEO. We all have to learn it. We all have to have that courage to take those risks. So if we want to have that powerful vision, that powerful self-concept, and that powerful strategy, here's how we activate it, right? So if you're someone who was following along and you're saying, the thing that I'm missing right now, I do have confidence in myself. I do have a good strategy, but I don't have the vision. I'm not really sure like where I'm going or what things I need to focus on. Then for you, it's about saying yes. Likely the vision is hiding within your subconscious. It's somewhere in your energy. And it's just a matter of getting quiet and being able to hear it. And really, it's an energetic yes that needs to happen. It's like I'm doing this because it's a heart opening, right? It's a heart opening that needs to happen so that the vision can actually be recognized by you and heard by you. You already know what it is. I know sometimes when we say we don't know, we think we don't know, but we do know. It's somewhere in there. And it's just this heart opening of saying yes to the adventure, of saying yes to the possibility, of saying yes to how big it could possibly be, that makes it so that we can actually finally see it, right? So for a powerful vision, we have to say yes. For a powerful self-concept, we have to let go and lock in. So what are we letting go of? We're letting go of old identities. We're going to do some of that in just like 2 minutes. So we need to let go of the old ways. We need to let go of the old kind of identities. Someone brought up an amazing example of, being a mom very young, right? Builds up this identity of who we are. Oh, I'm a mom, so that means this. Or I'm a young mom, so that means this. Or I wasn't able to do certain things in my life because I was a young mom, so that means this, right? So sometimes in order to reach that next level of that powerful self-concept as a CEO, we have to let go of something. And sometimes it's hard to let go because maybe we've become comfortable with that side or we've become comfortable with that identity. I became very comfortable with the identity of being nice. You've probably seen a lot of my my content recently is about this, and it's really resonating with you guys. It's really resonating, especially on TikTok, talking about being nice. I'm a Libra, okay? I'm a Libra South Node. I like being nice. I want people to like me, right? Oh, and I have to let go. I have to let go of, always trying to be the one that people like and always trying to be nice. And honestly, it's opened up so much more confidence, clarity in me, recognizing that I don't have to identify with that anymore. I'm a kind person. I'm an empathetic person. I have a huge heart. I cry at airports watching other people greet each other, but I don't have to be nice in my business. Okay. So, lock in is locking in your new identity. And we're going to talk about that as well today. Yes, the new identity, the next level of the identity of who you are. And then lastly, a powerful strategy. How do we unlock that? We align. We align with our human design and we align with our astrology, because there are so many incredible ways and practical ways that we can utilize our blueprint to say, hey, this pathway is going to be a lot easier for you. As a projector, magnetizing people to you as an advisor, as a subject matter expert, is a lot easier than trying to push and force and convince people that you're the one, right? Finding this aligned strategy. As a reflector, having some evergreen business model and products available is a much easier path than trying to force yourself to be consistent every day, right? Align. All right. So we are going to jump into our meditation now. I don't have music for us, so it's just going to be the dulcet tones of my voice. If I get some time later this week, I will record a music version for you of this meditation. I'm on the next page now, but if you can, find a nice, relaxed place where you can sit or lay down. Sit is fine. You don't need to lay down. Whatever's more comfortable for you. Yes, Ella, Libra rising. Oh my gosh, you know it. You know it. Exactly. Yes, the new manifesting generator video, you saw it about not being nice. So we're going to start the first step of our identity shifting process around calling in CEO energy. Take a deep breath in and release. Let your body start to melt. Let any tension that you've been holding start to let go of all of that as we move into some beautiful, meditative, energetic work. As part of anchoring in and making space for a powerful new self-concept, it's important that we let go of old parts of ourselves that we have outgrown, old parts of us that we are ready to let go of, that we are ready to say goodbye to. And that's what we're going to do right now together. Take the first step. Take another deep breath in, even deeper than the last, filling up the belly, filling up the chest, and release. I want you to imagine that you're in a beautiful desert. It's vast, it's peaceful. The quiet sounds of nature all around you. and the sun has just set. It's dusk. You're starting to see the stars come out in the sky and the big, shining full moon high above you twinkles in the fading light. I want you to start walking forward. Notice that you're barefoot. You're feeling the sand between your toes, feeling the warmth of the fading sun. Maybe you hear the howl of a coyote in the background, the tweet of the little desert birds. And as you walk, you notice there is a bright light coming from up ahead. As you move closer to that light, you notice that it's firelight. And there is almost a river of fire before you in the middle of this beautiful, peaceful desert. It's not fire that will hurt you, but it's fire that will help you to burn away things that you don't need anymore. And above this river of fire, you see these images start to come together, almost like a mirror in the smoke, a mirror in the shimmering heat above this river. Allow yourself to see the images coming together for you. I want you to picture a time where you felt that you failed. It could be a failure in your business, in your work, in your career, or just whatever comes to mind. But you made a mistake. You made the wrong choice. Something happened and you feel that is your fault. Watch yourself at those moments and send yourself deep love for the person who thought that they had to be perfect, for the person that thought that they had to always get it right, for the person who was very hard on themselves. Send yourself love to that image and then let it fade. And then allow another image to come to you, which is a time that you questioned yourself, a time when you doubted your ability, you doubted your intuition. Allow that image to coalesce in front of you in the flames. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Send yourself love in that moment when you were questioning, when you were doubting, when you should have trusted your instincts. Love and forgiveness to yourself. And let that image fade. And then bring in a final image. This image is who you thought you had to be. It's a persona that you've created over time. Maybe it's a strong persona. Maybe it's a nice persona. Maybe it's a pleasing, soft persona. Bring to your mind what that looks like when you tried to fit the mold of who you thought you had to be. And send yourself so much love for that part of yourself that you are ready to let go of, that you are ready to say goodbye to, that is no longer in alignment with who you are today. As you step up to the flames and you're ready to cross through the fire to the other side, to the sand on the other side, and say to yourself, I let go of the past. I jump into what's next. I let go of the past. I jump into what's next. I let go of the past. I jump into what's next and cross through the flames. Deep breath in and release. And as you reach the other side of the flames that you feel warming your back, there is a final message here for you to take away today. In front of you, you will see 3 pillars standing in the middle of the desert with 3 items on top. You are going to pick one of these items and see that it represents something to you that you are calling in or that you need right now to anchor in the letting go and the locking in of your new self and confidence. The first item is a coin, a gold, ancient coin. On the second pillar is a shell, a beautiful, shining shell from the ocean. And on the third pillar is a candle. Choose your item intuitively. Once you have chosen your item, you walk slowly towards the horizon, feeling the sand between your toes, feeling the warm breeze on your face, knowing that you can always return to the cleansing fires of this desert. You can always return for a new message. And as you start to anchor back into your body, start to wiggle around a little, feel around. Before you open your eyes, I'll tell you what the items meant. If you chose the coin, that means that right now you are working on being open to receiving. There's something here about money. There's something here about abundance coming your way. And all you have to do is open. All you have to do is recognize your ability to receive it. If you chose the shell, then there is a new message coming through you right now. A message that you are ready to share, a way that you are ready to raise your voice in confidence, with spirit, with soul. That message is ready for you. And if you chose the candle, then for you, it's time to leap into action. There's something new that you're ready to do, something new you're ready to learn how to do. And it's time to light a new flame inside you in order to take that action. And take another deep, deep breath to waken up the body. In through the nose, filling up the belly, filling up the lungs, and release. Shake it out. You shake out, roll your shoulders a little bit, crack your neck a little bit. Start to wake yourself up and come back to us and come back to the group. So we talked about the energy and we took that first step of starting to make our peace and let go of the parts of ourselves that are no longer aligned. But now, how are we building our new identity? Right? What is the next step? What is coming in? What how are we evolving, right? And so I can't wait to introduce you to a new perspective. And maybe this is a part of you that you're already really aware of. Maybe this is a part of you that you absolutely know about. And this is just going to be validation for you. Or maybe you've never seen yourself in this way before. I want to bring in two particular cosmic clues that are essential and integral to forging your identity as a CEO. I'm very passionate about uniqueness, and I'm very passionate about the fact that when we build a powerful brand for ourselves and our business, it's not about building a brand that is on trend or building a brand that looks like someone else, right? It's about how do we bring out our personality, our genius, our passion to the fore. And one of the best ways I know how to do that is through cosmic systems. So, the first piece I want to talk about is the rising sign. So, feel free to put your rising sign in the chat. I would love to know what yours is. I often, if you follow my work, you know I talk about the midheaven as your brand, right? And that's absolutely true. The midheaven is the most public part of the chart. It is your fame point. It is the part of the chart that other people see, that your clients see, that they really want to receive from you. You know, my midheaven is Sagittarius. I am an activator. That is the way that I describe fire sign midheavens. I'm an activator. I help people get unstuck, get into action, get into movement, right? We talked about the movement of today. And I'm a teacher. So is the Sagittarius element, I could not be someone who just asks questions. I have to be someone who also is gifted in giving knowledge and insight. It's my Sagittarius side and I can't turn it off, and I don't want to turn it off, and I shouldn't turn it off because it is my midheaven. So you may have that same placement or you may have a different one. So your public brand is your midheaven. But today I want to talk about the rising sign. So the rising sign is what I often call your backstage manager. But another way of us utilizing it that I'm really excited to talk about today is in forging your CEO identity. Yes, the CEO is a public representative of your company, but the CEO is also the lifeblood, the heart, the behind the scenes person who is keeping everyone on track. It is the backstage manager as well. It is the person behind the scenes who is the motivation. Our rising sign in astrology is the cusp of the first house. So it rules our house of identity. The first house is the first step of 12 steps around our beautiful, sacred, cosmic journey of life. And that first step means everything. That first step of the hero's journey or the journey around the birth chart is that call to adventure, as Joseph Campbell said. That first moment that says, hey, this is our primary drive. This is our deeper motivation that we need to be satisfied in life. It's about me, right? And as the CEO of your business, yes, you are here to be of service, and activating yourself into service is very important. This is going to be part of what we're going to talk about later, this summer activation that we have coming up. But it's also about doing it from a heart-centered place, from a place that is centered in your personal vision. And your personal vision is really deeply created partially by the rising sign. So if you have a fire rising sign, I'm looking at all our right. Ooh, we've got some fire rising signs. Okay, so we've got Sagittarius rising. We have two Sagittarius risings. We have Pisces rising, Capricorn rising, Scorpio rising. So we've got water, earth, and fire so far in the chat. Love it. Yes, and Toby says, I don't connect much with my MC, and I can't imagine how it could be implemented into my branding. Do you have my free ebook? Make sure you do. If you do, it's such a great place to start. It gives you a lot of insight into understanding the midheaven archetypes. One of the things, and by the way, I also have a course on this called Midheaven Magnetism. And so one of the things that's really interesting about the midheaven is it's not for you, it's for other people. But the rising sign that we're talking about today with CEO energy is for you. So a lot of people resonate deeply with their rising sign. Yes, okay, good. You have it. You found me from there. Perfect. Deeply resonate with the rising sign, but not the midheaven. So that is very normal. But the midheaven is something that you're naturally doing anyway. Okay, we have Virgo midheaven as well. I never thought about this as my public face. So the Virgo midheaven would be your public face for business. And then whatever your rising sign is, that is your private. This is like the deep inner decisive CEO vision holder side of you. So I'm going to go through by element. I'm not going to go through all 12 signs, but I'm going to give you a nugget for today that you can take away, that you can start to implement right away in your self-concept, in the way that you build your identity, in the way that you elevate the way you see yourself as the leader of your career and the leader of your business. So fire rising signs. Okay. So if you are an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius rising sign, this is for you. You are a passionate CEO. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Passion, 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 baby. Passion is such a driver for you. You, especially Sagittarius, you have a drive to adventure. Leo, you have this drive to take action for play and fun. It's all very fiery, right? It's like, if you're not getting that fed in your business, and if your vision doesn't set you on fire, it's not happening. It's not the right vision. If your vision is like, oh, that would be nice. That's not right for you. It needs to completely just light this fire within you. If you're a fire rising sign, action, adventure, passion. That is how you lead as a CEO. Very, very important. If you have an earth rising sign, so that would be my Taurus risings, my Virgo risings, my Capricorn risings. I know we have a Capricorn rising here as well. You are a grounded CEO. The way that you approach problems, the way that you approach things in your business is going to be from a kind of practical, grounded angle. You're always going to want to know why, and you're always going to want to know how. You're a planner. So don't not plan in your business. Make sure that you're satisfying this earthy side of yourself, this side of yourself that sees yourself. This is your identity, right? Your rising sign rules the first house. So it is ruling your house of identity. So that means that you see yourself as a practical person. You see yourself potentially as a grounded person, and you have this potential to be an incredibly beautifully grounded CEO. So that's the kind of leader that you are. You need to have a vision that is grounded, that feels tangible, that feels real. If your vision is too ethereal and too kind of like airy-fairy, you can't hold on to it enough. I always talk about Earth rising signs need to have very clear goals, right? Very clear goals. Like you need to know exactly where you're heading. For the fire rising signs, it's more about that passion and just like, yes, I want to make a difference in this industry. I want to disrupt this one. I want to do this. Like, it's like much more about the excitement, the passion. And then for those earth rising sign CEOs, it's about the plan. It's about what are we building and making sure that you are on plan. If you're an air sign rising, then that means you're either a Gemini rising, you're either a Libra rising, or you're either a Aquarius rising. Then for you, it's all about being inspired. It's about freshness. So in your business, as you are leading your business, the vision you have for your business needs to be one that is extremely inspiring to you, something that makes you believe in something, right? Like your beliefs are really, really important if you're an air rising sign. Your beliefs, your vision, it needs to be larger than life. It needs to be very motivating, and it needs to be fresh and new. If you feel like it is too small or too itsy bitsy or too practical, like the earth rising sign, if you think it's too practical, it will not inspire you enough. and it will not help you to hold that vision, right? It's got to be fresh. It's got to be big. It's got to be inspiring. You're an inspiring CEO. If you have a water rising sign, then you're an intuitive CEO. The intuitive CEO is the one who has this kind of healer aspect to them. Now, anyone can be a healer. Absolutely. I'm not saying that if you don't have a water rising, you're not a healer, but I'm saying that there is a very spiritual side of your vision. You're here to do something that has a deeper impact, and you're looking for depth, and you're looking for meaning, and you're looking for that magical intuitive side of what you do. If your vision isn't tingling that, if your vision is too grounded, too strategic, too, kind of practical, then it's not going to satisfy those water risings. By the way, so water rising would be Cancer rising, Scorpio rising, or Pisces rising. There has to be this deeper thing that you are helping people heal with your work. And if you don't feel that, then what you do will feel meaningless. Okay. So I noticed we have Scorpio risings, we have Sag risings, we have Capricorn risings on the call, we have Pisces rising, Cancer rising. See, we've got a lot of water, we've got a lot of earth, we've got a lot of fire. Love it, love it, love it. Does this resonate with you? Let me know. This is so important because the CEO is the responsible for the vision and responsible for the strategy. Making sure that you're hitting these points for yourself based on your rising sign is going to be so crucial. This is how you create your CEO identity. This is how you really lock in, right? We did some letting go earlier today. Now we're starting to lock into who we are. Yes, Sinchop says deep and meaningful, right? Okay. The other piece I want to give you, I'm going to give you another nugget. I was only going to the rising sign, but then I was like, no, we need to put some human design. Let's bring in some human design in here. Okay. And you've probably heard these things before, but I want you to think about them in a new way. Think about them specifically about yourself, seeing yourself as this leader that you have always dreamed of being, this leader that you knew you were, knew you could be, and see yourself in this new light. So I want to talk about our human design aura. We talked about aura a little bit earlier when you're thinking about like who feels like a CEO to you, who inspires you with CEO energy. A lot of it is aura. Okay. In order to make the connections you want to make, in order to be the leader you want to be, in order to hold the vision and be able to evolve in the ways that you need to evolve, that self-concept has so much to do with aura. And so your aura, if you are a generator, right? Yes, Carrie says, so inspiring. So if you are a generator, you are a creative CEO. So you are always very capable. So whatever happens in your business, you're like, I think I can figure that out. It's highly creative. It's like very capable, very creative. You're like, ooh, I think I can find a way. Ooh, I think I can find a solution to that. Oh, there's a problem? No problem. I've got it. I'm going to figure it out, right? Generators are the figure it out people. I love working with generators. Okay. They're so capable, they'll figure it out. They're very creative. So think about this, combine this with your rising sign, right? Like if you're a Capricorn rising and you're a generator, very interesting combination. So that means you're a grounded CEO and then you're really creative. So it means you like to have a deep plan. You like for your work to be very specific and headed in a very specific direction. You like to be strategic about it. You have clear goals and you're very creative about the way you're going to achieve those. So what's really great about you as a CEO is that you're very can do. No matter what comes up in your business, no matter what, failure happens, roadblock comes up, whatever, you can always figure it out. That is something you're very good at. Okay, we have a Gemini rising generator here. Okay, so you're inspiring CEO and creative, right? So there's all these fresh ideas and then these new ways that you're coming up with putting them together, right? What a potent combination. I love this combination so much. So the inspiring and the creative. Okay, so if you're a manifesting generator, right? Like me, if you're a manifesting generator, you're the unconventional creative. Okay, so you do have that creative side of you as well, the very can do, let's solve this problem, let's figure it out. Like there's never not a way for you. If you're a manifesting generator, people tell you no, you're like, mission accepted. Okay. Challenge accepted. Like, I love it when people tell me no. Like, I love it. In fact, when I was having my crisis of confidence, I should have just told someone to tell me no, like, you can't do this, because then I would fight. Like, so manifesting generators, you're the unconventional creatives, right? Yes, exactly. You guys are resonating in the chat. Very accurate. Yeah, no. So just get someone to tell you no if you're feeling like doubtful about yourself, and you'll snap right out of it. You'll get so unconventional. You're the CEO where they didn't see it coming. Okay. They kind of, maybe they wrote you off. Maybe they thought you were a little crazy. Maybe you're a little all over the place. You have all these wild ideas, but you are unconventional. So you're the one that people are going to call when they need a new way, when they need you to figure it out in a crazy, like never saw it coming, but wow, this is satisfying. And so it works, right? You're the unconventional one. No one's gonna like invite me to speak at like a sleepy Toastmasters, right? Like they're gonna invite me to speak at like an innovation conference that's like, whoa, what is this? Astrology, human design? What is she talking about with business strategy, right? Innovative. Okay. So it's always the innovative. Then manifestors, okay? Manifestors, you're the disruptors. You are the change maker CEOs. You're the ones that they call in when everything is just sliding backwards and nothing is working and they can't figure it out. And you're the maverick that comes in and changes it all. Disruptors. And think about that combined with your rising, right? Again, you're putting these two things together, your rising sign and your aura. Yes, your identity and your energy. Ooh, so potent. Manifestors, you're the disruptors. You're the ones that I always say, make sure you're not being nice, because you're here to change things. People don't like things being changed, but after you do it, they're like, wow, we really needed that. We didn't realize it. We tried to fight you tooth and nail, but you knew, you saw it, you saw the future, right? You were the mad scientist saying, no, it's that way. So manifestors, you are the disruptors. So get comfortable with being that kind of CEO. You're not the kind of CEO in the stuffy suit that wants to keep everything, a-okay, the same as last year. We, maybe grew 1% or whatever it was. That's not you. You are dynamic. You are making waves, okay? Projectors, you are the advisors, you are the guides. You have this wisdom in you as a CEO. You just know the right direction. It's so intuitive. It's so like you just know, right? And you have this sense of being an expert in what you do. You're the kind of CEO that's like, I know things. Like I'm doing my like, I just know things like Wendy Williams used to do. You know things and you know the direction, and you need to trust yourself more, right? Projectors are so good with advising others, being that CEO that knows exactly, like has the solution. My business has the solution. Let me show you the steps. Let me show you where to go next, because we know. I often think of like projectors as being kind of like when you're working with a projector, like their business is going to give you the edge. Like I talk about the cosmic cutting edge, their business is going to give you the edge because it's cutting away the fluff and it's just helping you to go in the right direction, to get rid of all the distractions and the fluff and just get there faster, right? Projector energy is so potent, so powerful, and there's a sense of expertise to it as well, which is really beautiful. Sag rising projector. Oh, I love that combination. Passionate advisor, passionate wise person. That's very Sag. I mean, that goes together beautifully. So it's like you're super passionate about this adventure that you're going on. It's infectious. People love it. And they trust you because you have the expertise. They're like, wow, this person is such an expert. This person really knows what they're talking about. I'm in. And they're passionate. Done. Reflectors, you are the unicorns. Yes, you cannot be contained. You cannot be put in a box. You are very just in a league of your own. There is no one else out there like you. Reflectors, you have to remember you're not here to do it like everyone else. You're highly intuitive. You're very magical, mystical. So I'm calling you the unicorns. Be the unicorn CEO, the person who shows up in a totally different way, in a totally unique, that's like they're speaking a different language, but their people get it. And their people want to learn that language too. And they're so excited to learn this new language. And they're so excited to go to new, incredible places with you because you're the mythical creature that they didn't even think existed, but you do. And you're here and you're ready to go, right? Reflectors. Love it, love it, love it. So you want to really anchor in to these beautiful aspects of your astrology and your human design. We just picked one from each one. Of course, there's so much more complexity. Of course, you have stelliums. Of course, you have midheavens. Of course, you have moon signs. Of course, you have culture gene keys. Of course, you have life's work gene keys. There's so many other aspects of your cosmic blueprint that are important. And we go through almost all of these in your Rising Star Business Academy that I'm going to tell you about in a few minutes. But start with these two. Start with these two gems, your rising sign, your identity, the type of CEO you are, and your aura, the way that you naturally interact with other people, the way that people naturally want to invite you into being the leader in this space for them. Tap into both of these as the way that you lock in to your new CEO identity. See yourself in a powerful new way. I'm so excited for you all to do this. This is just, it's about building your business for you, right? It's about building your business and choosing your strategies in cosmic alignment. We talked about what you need to have: a powerful vision, a powerful self-concept, and a powerful strategy. When you have all three of those things, you are truly unstoppable. I'm going to share my screen again, and I want to talk to you about what is next. I want you to take these things away, meditate on them, continue to let go of the old identities, continue to lock in and anchor in the new ways that you are truly the CEO in your business, that you are truly that unshakable person, that you are truly the person that can weather any failure, can weather any issue, and rise and rise and rise and realize that you were the person who was born to do this work. And there's a reason that you were here. And there's a reason that you were drawn to this masterclass. And there's a reason that you were drawn to what you are passionate about, right? There are no mistakes. And you are one in a billion. So in terms of what's next with Cosmic Queen, of course, I would love to support you in this journey. I'm really passionate about helping entrepreneurs, about helping business owners to develop the business model, the brand, the offers, the way of working that is natural to them, right? It's not about kind of just finding one strategy that fits all, because it's true, one strategy does not fit all. The way that you might build passive income for yourself is completely different from how the next person might build passive income for yourself. The way that you might use social media is totally different from how another person might use social media. And so I knew that when I created my Rising Star Business Academy, that I wanted to create it in a way that truly honored the uniqueness of the person and that set someone up for success. I didn't want it to just be like a 3-month thing where you kind of jump in for a little while and then you're off on your own and rudderless and all of the things. Being an entrepreneur can often be lonely work. So I knew I wanted to create it with a sense of community, a sense of uniqueness, and a sense of like longevity, where you really have lots of time to put all of this stuff into action and to get lots of support along the way. So I want to introduce you to what the Rising Star Business Academy is. So this is my business school. It's a bit of a hybrid. It's a hybrid of a community and a membership, a course, a business course of like the step-by-step of exactly what you need to do, because I'm all about practical magic here. I like to talk about the energy. I like to talk about the strategy, the mindset, but we've got to get into the day-to-day strategy as well. We've got to get into the building blocks of what makes a successful business. In the beginning of my business, I did a lot of throwing paint at the wall, and that was very good that I did that. That was, I don't regret any steps that I took, but it did waste a lot of time. now that I understand human design and I understand astrology better, and I also understand business better, I can save people a lot of time by helping them to get the foundation right from the start. And if you're one of my Phoenix entrepreneurs, so many of you here in this masterclass already have businesses, right? So you're my Phoenix entrepreneurs. So you may want to just burn a few things down in your business that are not working, and you want to refine it and refresh and build something new. This is also made for you. So in this academy, you get these 5 parts of this program, which are 16 modules in total. So these are pre-recorded, so you can go ahead and watch them from day one, and you can go at your own pace, and you can even jump around. Although I don't recommend. I recommend you go through it from the beginning to the end, but you can jump around. So for example, if you know that you really need to work on productivity, jump to module 16 and start to figure out how your business model can support your productivity so that you do not burn out in your business, right? But I do recommend going in order. So we start off with vision and values. We talk about, what is your why? What is your motivation? We go deeper into what we started to talk about today, the rising sign. And we get into your values. Your values are a huge reason why people will want to work with you, especially if you're also if you're in a product business, but especially if you're in a service-based business. People don't just want to work with someone because they see them as an expert. That is like the old school kind of way. Think about why you hire people. Maybe you hire people for some of their expertise. A lot of people join my Rising Star Business Academy because of my expertise in astrology and human design. That's part of it. But a bigger part of it is the values. I know that people choose to work with me because of my values. I value uniqueness, freedom. I talk about my politics. I talk about who I am. I talk about what's important to me. I want to raise up diverse voices. Like, my values and who I am is such an important part, and it's the same for you. This is why people will choose to invest in you and work with you. So we got to get that right from the beginning. Then we talk about your vision for your business, and we really anchor all of that in. So everything we talked about today, having a powerful vision, it's all covered. We go into bold branding. This is usually people's favorite part. So we do bold branding. This is where we get into the midheaven. Yes, we talk about all the detail about how do you actually build a brand specifically around your midheaven. How do you bring in your core messaging? How do you bring in your human design? We talk a lot about profile lines as well. Profile lines are very powerful when it comes to branding because it is about how you see the world. What's unique about you? We help you find your zone of genius and create, of course, your brand aesthetic. What is the look and feel? Very important as well. We are in a visual world. Then we get into community and content. And we go into gifts into gold as well. I won't go through every module here, but you can read about it on my website. The links are everywhere. If you go to my Instagram, and also, of course, I'm going to send out the links after today. We talk about your offer stack. What are the offers? What are your signature offers? What are you missing? And what do you need to create? And then help you through every step of the process. So you do get coaching as part of this. So you get a minimum of 12 months of coaching with me. This is essential. I know that it's one thing to learn and to have the workbooks and to do the cheat sheets and all the things from the program itself. And that's incredibly valuable. But the coaching cements it. Working with me once a month cements everything that you learn and helps you to actually, like, I look at your charts, right? Like, everyone, we have people here who are from Rising Star in the group today, and they can attest to this. I personalize everything. I will never be checked out on a call. I will never be phoning it in on a call because I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to have someone who is supposed to be, mentoring and supporting you who doesn't care. And I care deeply. So I personalize everything. I look at your charts, I know your charts, and I will give you insight and support you and help you to figure out what's right for you as you go along. Plus, we added something new now. So I get to have a touch point with you twice a month. So we have this call once a month, and we have our Signal app. So we chose Signal because it's encrypted. It's very safe. They don't share your data. So we use the Signal app as well. And once a month, I come in and I do an office hours day. So I do voice coaching and support with you as well. So you have lots of accountability. You can be we have 2 Signal apps. You can be on the community app all month long, be chatting with the other people in the group, and hold yourself accountable as you build what you're building in your business. We have quarterly trainings that are added, and you get 6 months in the constellation community included. This is like everything. I'm throwing the baby, the bath water, the bath salts, the essential oils. Everything is in this offer. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. And that's also why it only opens up twice a year. So this is our summer intake. If you're interested in joining Rising Star, now is the perfect time. See this as an investment in the longevity, the fulfillment, the satisfaction, the joy that you can have in creating your incredible vision in your business. The way you start is so important. The way that you activate your CEO energy, the way that you really set about creating and crafting the ideal dream business for you will make such a difference when the ups and downs come, when the success comes, when the difficulties come. You'll know how to weather it. You'll be unshakable, and your vision just, I can't wait to support you in creating it. I have so much love for you and everything that you're creating. I want you to know. I want you to know that whether you jump into Rising Star or not, of course, I would love for you to join us for the summer intake. I would love for you to join the Confident Cosmic CEO Summer Challenge for 10 weeks with us this summer. But no matter what you do, I just want you to know that you are here for a reason, that you are here in this room for a reason, that you're here on this planet for a reason. And your desire to create a business, your desire to have a positive impact, your desire to be more free in your work, in what you do, in bringing your passion to the world is no mistake. And I'm just so excited for the activation that you received today. I hope that however it was for you, that it will anchor in the coming days and help you to recognize how truly complex, beautiful, and great you are. And as I always say, keep reaching for the stars.